Division Dispatches.
This is Janice Arnold, Board Development Consultant at the Manitoba School Boards Association. Anyone remember this song? Maybe it's one that you want to forget with the memories of 80s, big hair and shoulder pads. But there's also a policy paper with a similar title, Nudge Me Baby One More Time. It's put up by the federal government think tank Policy Horizons Canada. They try to anticipate emerging policy opportunities. One of the areas they've been looking at is behavioral economics, or as it's becoming better known, the art of nudging. And I think they may be on to something. It started with the pop economics book, Nudge, by Thaler and Sunstein. Their theory is that by tweaking small changes in a person's surroundings, they can steer them or nudge them toward better decisions. It's the deliberate designing of choices in order to steer the decision maker in a certain direction and hopefully a positive outcome. British Prime Minister David Cameron is a big proponent of the nudge theory, and in 2010 he set up what he calls the Behavioral Insights Team, or BIT. That theory, in practice, looks something like this. The British government wanted people to insulate their attics and in turn save energy costs. As part of the initial campaign, they used economic arguments, cash incentives, and subsidies. But nothing was working. They decided to look a little further into why people weren't responding, and they came up with another solution. The reason people weren't taking them up on the offer was that Brits used their attics for storage, and cleaning out the spaces was daunting. So the government teamed up with local renovators who offered cut rates on cleaning attics and insulating them at the same time. That was the nudge people needed, and the program was overwhelmingly successful. It's not about hitting someone over the head and telling them they must change. It's about whispering that they have a choice, but letting them make the decision. Behavioral economics is about giving people a subtle nudge to steer them to positive outcomes, and it's being adopted by everyone from the hospitality sector to charities to government and even schools. Another example, and one closer to home for school divisions, is that of a school board in Texas. The rate of their high school grads going on to college or university sat at 11%. They wanted to increase that, but they had no money for programming or resources. They came up with two very simple nudges. One, if a student wanted to graduate, they had to fill out a college application. There didn't have to be a promise to go, just fill it out. And secondly, they had to take a standardized test used to gain college entrance. Students didn't have to study, just take it. Teachers took a little time for the test and helped students fill out the application. The results were nothing short of remarkable. From 2004 to 2005, the number of students going on to college rose from 11 to 45%. Just the act of filling out the application convinced 34% more students to go to college. This small nudge affected the entire course of their lives. Let's take a quick look at one more gentle nudge and see the results. Have noted that it's not right when a government uses any influence on decision making. You have to keep in mind, when does a nudge become a shove? But proponents say that it's not a shove, it's a gentle push, and people still have the right to choose. That the decision remains theirs is important, as my last example will show you. Recently, some grocery stores were looking to steer the customers toward eating more fruits and vegetables. One saw sales of them jump by 10% when they introduced cards in the carts that told shoppers which produce others were buying and which were the 5 biggest sellers. Interestingly, they found that while their total sales remained the same, their produce sales went up. It didn't lose sales, it just steered their customers to buy healthier. Another used big green arrows on the floor to direct shoppers to that section. 9 out of 10 shoppers followed the arrows. However, nudging is delicate. The store thought that if one nudge can change the sales that much, imagine what 2 nudges would do. So they introduced both the cards and the arrows, and they saw sales fall. It was one nudge too many. Nudging is the intersection of economics and psychology. For example, using color to influence a buying decision or using figurative speed bumps to slow the buying process down in turn influences buying. But using a nudge is different. Consumers' buying is not always rational. They will often make a poor decision even when given some good options. With nudging, you are providing a specific decision point and frame the question in a way that it influences a decision for the better. It might be something to consider in your school division. Take a look at your strategic plan. What are some of the outcomes you're looking for? You might just want to consider the approach of a gentle nudge or open yourself to one. Thanks for tuning in.